Hello, hello, hello to everybody out there in YouTube land. Glad to see you guys coming in tonight. We're going to do a little bit of tarot reading. We're going to do a little bit of chit chat. We're just going to have some fun here this evening. Right now, I'm just waiting until people show up in the room because I never schedule my stuff. Uranus in the sixth house. Plus, it's been transiting my first house for a while, getting ready to leave. I'm excited for it to leave. I'm hoping all of its sudden surprises in the second house will be good ones. Hello there, Nomad. Glad to see you here, honey bunny. Motivation, Cheryl Ford. You guys are all coming in fast tonight. Y'all are coming in hot. How is everybody tonight? How y'all doing? I'm still just clearing the cards for the video, and y'all are already coming in the room. It was quiet. I'm fantastic, thank you. Fantastic. You know, today is a black moon, guys. This is a good time to do any kind of manifestation ceremony or to start anything new because we'll have the discipline over the next 2 weeks to stick with it and keep building. I'm glad to hear that you are great, Miss Cheryl. Yay. Yay. I'm fantastic. I'm alive. I'm breathing. I think that's a great start for anybody, right? Plus, my YouTube's going viral. My client base is expanding. My life is good, 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 and getting better all the time. All the time, baby. Just chilling. This is my version of chilling. Is that kind of sad? You guys, you want to hear something funny? I don't know if it's funny. I think it's kind of funny. Not maybe even a haha kind of way, maybe more of an ironic kind of way. So I had this guy reach out to me on Facebook. I don't know, I guess it's been a couple of days ago. I've returned his messages here and there, whatever, you know. You guys know how these Facebook scammers are. They've always got these pictures of people that look like they are in America, and then really they end up being like from Africa or India or whatever, and they really just want a green card or they want your money or whatever it is that they want. So I'm like, this guy doesn't look like as much of a scammer as the other ones. He's had a Facebook page a little longer. He updates it a little bit more often. But he's always only got pictures of himself. There's never pictures of his friends or family. So I'm still like, this is kind of sus. So anyway, today I was busy this morning. He's all texting me. He sends me this picture of flowers telling me have a great day. Soon as I get that, I'm like, man, this guy is definitely a scammer. So then what was it? I don't even know. He sent me some kind of message. And I was like, I'm just tired of this. I'm tired of this. So this is like, I don't know, the 8th message that he sends me for the day. I'm like, let's just see what you look like, mister, because I bet you don't look like your picture. Just saying. So I just hit the little video call icon. Soon as he sends me that message, he doesn't answer. Of course he doesn't answer because he doesn't look anything like his picture, right? So then he gets into this little pissing contest with me because he said something. And I said, I know what I look like. Do you look like your picture? And so then he's been going back and forth about making a friend and how if you have an open mind and, oh, I wasn't thinking anything like that. And I told him, I said, look, there's tons of scammers out here. And he's like, oh, and I grew up in the United States and you should know that. And I said, look, there's tons of scammers out here. How would I know that? And he's like, well, that's just terrible that you think I would take advantage of you like that, that I would, want help with getting a green card or whatever it is that you think I would do, blah, blah. And so then he says, this is what killed me. Then he says, you looked at my messages earlier and you didn't respond to them. That's why I didn't answer your call. I was like, "Lordy, these men, man. Mm-mm." They are always out to play the victim. Hello there, vixen. So then I was like, "You know what? I didn't answer your call, or I didn't." We have a difference in perspective, is what I told him. I said, "You seem to have the perspective that just because I look at your messages, I am now somehow obligated to respond to them. I am not." He's not too happy right now. I haven't blocked him yet. I should, but there's something evil in me. The lower level Scorpio in me likes playing with him like a cat playing with a mouse. Thank you on the thumbs up. I appreciate that. Okay, let's look at our best manifestation advice. Go cry to mommy. I love it. I'm not nice. There he is again. He keeps on texting me like he thinks I'm going to answer right now. I done told him I'm working and I don't have regular hours. Should not expect much in response from me. He is not my priority. My work is my priority. Where would be the fun in blocking him? Then I wouldn't get to play with him. I'm telling you, for whatever reason, this poor guy, I'm just playing with him like a cat plays with a mouse. All right. I don't know why him. Usually I do just block him. Best manifestation advice for the day for everybody in the room. Y'all be thinking about, what do you really want to manifest? This advice is going to apply over the next 24 hours. Let's see what we have. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Okay. What is going on here? Guys, I guess I'm too cynical. I might be too cynical here to read these cards. Look at this. Okay. Let's just start by showing them, then we'll talk about the meaning. First of all, we do have the green woman. She's showing up in reverse. Bleh. Bleh. Then we have the wolf. Then we have the empowerment card showing up in reverse. So if we want to give these names like they would be actually in the regular tarot that does not have all of these odd names, we would say this is the Empress in reverse. We would say this is our King of Pentacles. And we would say this is our Five of Bows or Five of Wands in reverse. Okay, but you know what? Like, this is my first deck that I learned on, and so some of these cards, it is a very different deck, and so some of these cards have different meanings for me than what they would if this was a traditional tarot. Now, first of all, Green Woman in reverse. She normally is very nurturing, very uplifting, very creative, very productive. When she's in reverse, she is none of that. She is kind of all contracted inside of herself, and she is not like uplifting and encouraging other people at all. That's what this is. This basically says don't encourage any kind of bad behavior. Basically, this can talk about being codependent and enabling other people whenever it shows up in reverse too. That's another meaning that it can have. So this is basically saying, don't be an enabler. Don't encourage other people's bad behavior. If that means you look like a shriveled up prune energetically to them, rather than somebody with your hand out, letting them take everything that you have, well, okay, that's what it is. All right. Now, King of Stones, that just says, let it go. Whatever this is, let it go. Whatever it is where you've been enabling somebody, just let that go. This wolf, he's standing up on this cliff just, like, looking, howling at the moon. Now, wolves are interesting animals because they can be pack animals or they can be loners. Either way, they can let it go and it's okay. They're fine. If they come across another pack, okay. But if they don't, they're fine being alone out there too. And the wolf here, he's standing over his buddy who had something happen to him, and his buddy is dying. He's watching guard basically. And as soon as that buddy passes, he's gonna honor him. He's gonna howl at the moon for him. And then he's gonna go on with his life. He's letting it go. He's not having any trouble letting it go. He knows it's completely appropriate to let the dead go. So whatever this is has no good energy. Maybe it even has toxic energy that we've been enabling or sharing with or trying to lift up and encourage. We should stop that and we should let it go. Last card here, empowerment card coming up in reverse, basically says this allows us to get our empowerment back. We've given away some of our power by trying to enable something that's toxic or something that is, like we're giving into the black hole basically, and everything that we're giving, it just disappears. And so we've lost a lot of our power, a lot of our energy by giving into this. It's time to stop that. And it's time to revitalize ourselves, to rebuild our power so that we don't stay in this place of being unempowered. Okay. No more being codependent is basically what this card is saying. Don't be given to something that is only, where we're only enabling somebody's bad behavior. Step back, revitalize ourselves. You guys, I think those cards just told me to quit talking to this dude at all. All right. Let's start reading for some people. Let's start reading for some people. Anybody here who has a question that they would like me to answer, please put it in the chat. If you just want a message from Spirit, put that in the chat. Don't forget to put a reaction to this video and share it out with others that may want a reading as well. What is this moon bringing in for you? What are you? Well, okay, Kay. Thank you for putting your name. I appreciate that. Here's the question. What have you set the intention for it to bring in for you? What has been your intention? Okay, Cheryl wants a message. We get to steer these things. Now, you can't change people, but you can sting them a lot. Man, my lower level Scorpio is coming out tonight. Ooh. It does not come out like this. I can't remember feeling like this since, gosh, a long time ago, like in the 2010s. Let's see. There's something going on with this moon and me, I'll tell you that. What did you ask motivation? You can ask that. Absolutely. Absolutely, you can. But I think you should also take in mind that you should steer it as well. Let's see. Nomad wants a message from Spirit. All right, let's see what else. Vixen. Okay, so Vixen has a question. What's the neighbor's first name? Don't give me the whole name. Just give me the first name, honey. You set the intentions daily. I love it. Awesome. I am feeling spicy tonight. You're right. Spicy or salty? Maybe salty. Question about Bill. Okay. All right, so here's how our lineup is. If I've missed anybody, please re-put your information in the chat. First, I'm going to be looking at a question for Kay. Then I'm going to be looking at a message for Cheryl. I guess I should put up the right amount of fingers. Then I'm going to be doing a message for Nomad. Then I'm going to be doing a question for Vixen. Vixen, please tell me your first name too. Forgot to ask you that. Hello. You would think I would remember by now, wouldn't you? Okay. Here we go. Here we go. All right, let's see. What was Kay's question? Okay. What is the moon bringing in for Kay? What is this beautiful black moon bringing in for Kay today? This moon was at its prime, at its peak, like 2 hours ago. So we still have about 2.5 days of good solid strength for it to affect our lives. So if you didn't do your ceremony yet, you can still do that. What is the moon bringing in for Kay, please? What is the moon bringing in for Kay? Actually, they want me to use my Lenormand cards to start this and then add on to it. Boopity-doo-doo. You're bringing in rest, man. Oh, this is interesting. This has to do with some kind of medical news. That's interesting. Tell me more about this medical news. Are you expecting medical news? Have you been taking tests? Is this medical news about somebody else in your life that's in your sphere of influence? What is this? Oh, that is true. Okay. All right. Tell me more about this medical news, please. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, trippy. No wonder they wanted the Lenormand. I don't know that the tarot could have told me that. All right, let's see what we have. This card talks about waiting. So this tells me, about taking the test and then waiting for the responses. So this medical news is news that you'll end up waiting for. I don't think that, like within the next 2.5 days, I don't think you'll have the results for it. Queen of Bows in reverse. This tells me that this is about something that's passed down from the family. Because the Queen of Bows in reverse to me talks about somebody. See how there's like a little mask on the ground right next to my finger? To me, that talks about somebody in spirit. So this, for me, talks about ancestors. This talks about lineage. So whatever this is something that is passed down through the family. Oh, this is interesting. You might get a crush on your doctor. You definitely like your doctor I don't know if this is the doctor you're seeing now or the doctor you end up with, but there's an attraction there. So I think you really appreciate your doctor. And I'm saying your doctor because you've got the Knight of Arrows here. This talks about somebody who is very detail oriented and very thorough in their consideration of something and in making a plan or some kind of consideration. And the Eight of Arrows. Gotcha. So the Eight of Arrows talks about, gosh, and I try to stay away from medical readings too, because I am not a doctor, but I'm glad you're going to a doctor. Eight of Arrows talks about some kind of this is a struggle. I mean, that's literally, I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but that is literally the label on this card with the Eight of Arrows. So I like this card though because yes, it does talk about struggle. So that's not my favorite part of the card. But the reason I like this card is because this chick is not giving up hope. She's still carrying that lantern. She's still moving forward, even though it's difficult. We see her still moving forward, even though she's got the wind against her. You know, she's got somebody shooting, but they're missing her. So she's still continuing forward. She's not perturbed by those arrows. She's not perturbed by the wind. She's got appropriate clothing. She's got this. You know, it's struggle, okay? It's not defeat, it's not a tower, it's not, there's a lot of things that this card could be that would have me really, really upset that I had done this reading. This basically says that you've got whatever this is and whatever news you get back, you've got this. It's not easy, but you've got this, okay? So I don't know if this is something that could potentially be life-threatening. If it could potentially be that, I don't think it's gonna be. I think you're gonna take care of it. And if it's not something that's life-threatening, then with the struggle card, this says it's treatable, but you might have to you might have to have injections every so often with all these arrows on the ground. You might have to have some kind of maintenance plan with whatever this is if it's chronic. Roots and waves. Hello, hello. Okay. So what is it that we're actually dealing with here? I say we as if I'm a mouse in your pocket. What is it you're actually dealing with here? So like spinal surgeries? Oh, not gonna back. Okay. If that's the case, then I like it that you like your doctor. That means we can probably trust your doctor. Um, and that means that if there's therapy or recovery time or whatever, it's yicky, but you've got this. Found a tumor as well. Okay. So the tumor is more like what felt like I was feeling around in the energy. Either way, with the way that struggle card is, we see that person continuing on, continuing on, continuing on. The next progression of that card would be for that struggle card to come in reverse. And once it flips over in reverse, that's the end of the struggle. So I think that there is a temporary struggle, but I do think that you get on top of it. And part of that is because you're proactive. You keep on stepping through the snow. I think you'll be totally fine. But in the meanwhile, maybe I should say, and in the meanwhile, let's everybody just send some healing prayers to Kay, and let's see if we can make that tumor like just disappear so that the next time they do a scan, it's totally gone. Why couldn't we? All of us praying? I'm going to send you some Reiki energy, okay? Well, as we pray. Thank you, Sacred Spirit, who designed every single one of our bodies and knows every little tiny detail about them. Thank you for inspiring Kay's body to come into perfect alignment and harmony with itself and to heal up totally and completely, so that her doctors are absolutely baffled and bewildered the next time they go in and look at what's been going on with her and they can't find it. Thank you for giving Kay all the strength and all the courage that she needs to keep her attitude in a place that allows for good things to continue to work her way. Thank you for surrounding her with your love and with your total and complete inspiration for healing in her body and with all the information and the power that she needs as she goes along on this journey. Amen and amen. Okay. All right. Let's read for our next person. Cheryl wants a message from Spirit. Okay, Miss Cheryl. By the way, guys, don't forget to put a reaction to this video, a thumbs up, thumbs down. I don't care what you put something. And share it out to others so that we have plenty of people to read for here tonight. You are quite welcome. A lot of people praying all at the same time, and that is some powerful stuff right there. All right, message for Cheryl. And then let's see, Nomad, you are in the batter's box. Thank you guys for joining in with me on the prayers and the healing energy. Boo-ba-da-doo-doo. We have a good community here, don't we? Okay. Wow, Cheryl, you have some powerful cards showing up here. Very interesting. Happy New Year, Ms. Vixen. I like it too. All right, so Cheryl and everybody else, be on the lookout for a piggyback message. Don't forget. So, Cheryl, you have these stag cards showing up here. This talks about somebody in your sphere of influence who is a really genuine type of leader, supporter, supervisor, somebody who has a lot of integrity. They have very high standards, but as long as you're living up to their standards, you won't have any trouble with them. They have high standards for themselves too, not just for the people around them. So, we really like this person. They're solid. They're rock solid, man. Now, what we have crossing this is the world tree. Now, the world tree talks about finishing up some kind of cycle. A lot of times I see this when people graduate from college or from high school or whatever. This can also be like when you go from being engaged to actually being married. That's finishing up that cycle and moving into the next one. So it looks to me like you have somebody who is an authority in your life who you I don't know if you necessarily take orders from them, so to speak, but they are moving on to a next cycle. This is going to be somebody that would be like a significant other or a supervisor or somebody like that. They're moving on to the next cycle. So if this is in work life, this may be somebody that is your supervisor that is getting promoted to a different job, but they're finishing some kind of cycle. Maybe they're wrapping up their night school. I don't know. All right, so best advice or heads up around this situation. All right. Don't be sad. If this is a supervisor that's getting promoted and moving out of your department, don't be sad about it. Whatever this is going on where somebody is completing this cycle, this is saying don't be sad about it because it's in reverse. When it's right side up, yes, look at that. That's heartache, heartbreak, maybe even jealousy sometimes, but usually heartache or heartbreak. Don't be sad. Don't be sad about it. Okay. Now, wow. Wow. Okay. We have the green man showing up here. The green man. Mm. I really feel like wherever this person is going, whenever they complete the cycle, they are going to be with this green man. And the green man is somebody who has a very similar personality, a lot of integrity. A lot of integrity. Huh. May even be somebody like their father, their mentor, somebody like that. And we have the 9 of Cups coming up in reverse, which basically says, you can't go with them. You can't go with them. Cheryl, this really makes me worry. I don't know about worry. This makes me think that maybe somebody just recently crossed over. That this is the person who ended a cycle, ended their time here on this planet, trying to tell you not to worry about them, not to cry about them, not to be sad about this. That they're with somebody who they consider a good friend. You would know who this person is. Maybe even they're with their dad. And they're telling you, you can't go. So if you were thinking about, man, if I just died, I could be with that person. Nay, nay. They're saying, nope, you can't do it. Not allowed, not authorized. Both of these people are people who are used to having a lot of authority. This one had some kind of authority over you. They're both saying, don't do it. Don't try to come over here with us. So I don't know if that's specifically what's going on, but that's kind of what I feel from that. It really makes me think a lot about whenever Scott passed away, and I was like, I wasn't gonna commit suicide, but I would have been happy to have a shopping cart fall on me from a couple floors up and just be gone. Hmm. Well, and I could be wrong about the context too. Whatever is the cycle this other person finished, you can't do that. This is not something you can do. And whatever is the cycle that they finished, it's allowing them to be like or be with somebody else who's finished the cycle prior to them that they probably looked up to. I'm going to say they looked up to them. This is don't be sad. This is applying to you, but this is also saying it heals my heart that I am now completing the same cycle as this other person. Okay. So that's the more general version of that. I'll be interested whenever you know what that's about. Okay, Desiree, you're up next, my friend. Let's see. Desiree just wanted a message. Here we go. Everybody else be on the lookout for a piggyback message. Yeah, I'm really interested to know. All right, let's see. Desiree. Let me focus in. That one kind of shook me a little bit. Let me focus in. Okay, here we go. Desiree. I'll be much happier if that's a supervisor that gets a promotion. All right. Desiree, what do you have showing up here, my friend? Here we go. We start off with the heron. And the heron is a card that talks about beginning something new because the heron is always awake when the sun comes up. It literally gets to watch the sun come up every single day. It's already awake. Okay. So the heron watches something new coming in. The Knight of the Bows. Knight of Bows. Desiree, do you have a kid? Because this could be a younger person. And if so, this is going to be somebody who has a lot of fire sign attributes. This is going to be somebody who is very positive, outgoing. They try to make the people around them happy and they'll do things to make them laugh. That could be what this is talking about if you have a kid that is like that. Okay. Yes, you do. And Aries would definitely fit because it's a fire sign. Aries is the first fire sign in the zodiac. It would be a Aries, a Sag, or a Leo. So, all right. So then if we have the heron and we have the fox here, this says that there's something new going on with your kid that has these fiery attributes. So your little Aries. Okay. Now, let's look at best advice or heads up around this. This is interesting. So the first bit of advice comes up as the moon on water. I'm trying to get this to where you can see it really well in the camera. Oh, that's a nice focus. So with the moon on water, there's all of this kind of shadow, and you can see like the profile of things. This is talking about um, how things can be in the shadow when we have the moonlight. There's illusions. The shadows are longer or fatter or whatever, so things don't look like normal. But check out underneath that water there. There's this big dinosaur egg looking thing there. And we've got, what is that, a pterodactyl flying across the moon? So this is, a very primordial type of picture. And the moon normally talks about things that we're unaware of. We kind of have an idea of them, but we don't have the full picture. It's like there's a couple of puzzle pieces missing that we can't quite put our fingers on. With this card, the moon on the water, that dinosaur egg says what's missing is that there's some ability or skill or opportunity that has not yet been tapped into. It's there, it's dormant, it's waiting to be found. The egg has not cracked open yet, but it's being nurtured, it's being kept by that water. Okay. So when we have a new beginning for your daughter, there's some kind of untapped opportunity or untapped ability that nobody really knows about that's coming to the surface. And it very well could have to do with this Capricorn new moon because that's a new beginning of something. Okay. Now, my next card talks about the idea of dedication. And you can see there, she almost looks like, see if I can get this in the camera again. She almost looks like she's playing that bow and arrow as if it's a violin or a viola or something. She's running her arrow across the string. Could be that your daughter is doing something musical. She has some type of natural musical ability or talent that she is becoming very dedicated to, But it doesn't have to be that. That's kind of reading the card a little bit more literally than I would like to read it. But there's something going on with this untapped potential or untapped opportunity that she's really dedicated to cracking that egg open and starting to see some of the realities of that. She's starting to see how she can make that rubber meet the road. Now, Page of Vessels. Why is she doing that? Well, because whatever this untapped potential is, she really loves it. She enjoys it. This brings her some satisfaction and some fulfillment. And the page is kind of young. So that means that this may be something that she hasn't really done enough of to know that that love for this is like the full real deal, like a King of Cups type of love for it, or even a Knight of Cups type of love for it. This is like doing something and going, oh, this is nice. It's that kind of energy. Aries generally, oh my goodness, they are. And once they get into something, they fully immerse themselves. That's why we've got the dedication showing up here. She's finding this untapped potential. She's getting super dedicated to it, probably obsessive about it, because she's starting to see that she really loves it. Starts out as exploration, ends up being, wow, I really love this. Let me dig in here. How old is she? So that was for Desiree. All right. You're quite welcome. All right. So let's see. Francesca had some question about Bill. Now I don't remember the question. Let me scroll back up. Roots and waves. Did you say you want anything? Do you have a question or do you want a message from Spirit? Okay, here we go. Let me copy and paste this so that I can have it in front of my eyes. That makes sense with the page showing up and the knight showing up. I'm going to say with the knight, she probably acts a little bit old for her age. Not a lot old, but a little bit old for her age. You could see her as a knight still kind of makes impulsive mistakes and decisions too. So, all right, Vixen. Okay, Francesca wants to know if Bill will help her to effectually find a job. Will Bill come through for Francesca on the job assist? Will he come through for Francesca on the job assistance? She's an old soul. All right. You have some interesting things going on here. Is Bill married? Or does he otherwise have a partner? Because there's some interesting things happening. That's what I thought. I think this is causing a little bit of friction in the marriage. I'm not exactly sure why, but she doesn't seem, she doesn't seem royally pissed off or anything, but she doesn't exactly seem fully on board on this. Okay, so will he? Yes, he will. I think he will come through. I think there's some friction about this. All right. Because it's interesting, we find the Two of Vessels coming up in reverse as our first card out. This is somebody is not attracted to the idea. I don't think you're attracted to Bill. This is the other thing this card is telling me. I don't think you're attracted to Bill. But somebody is not attracted to the idea of Bill helping you find a job. Hello there, Amber. Well, you know how some people are. Some people talk out of one side of their mouth. We have the Eight of Cups in reverse. This talks about walking back to something. I think Bill's going to come back to you, and he's actually going to have some job ideas for you with this empowerment. He may have put a good word in for you in a couple of places. The Green Woman tells me a couple of things. First of all, I think you're going to end up manifesting your own job. I think he's going to have a couple ideas for you, but I think you're going to end up being the one manifesting. So do some manifesting work. Use your law of attraction. Do whatever techniques you use, whether that's candle magic or whatever, rituals, prayer, whatever, because you have a lot to do with this actually going through. Even though he's coming back with some ideas, you actually have a bigger part in the idea of getting this job. So he may have some ideas or put your name in somewhere or say some good words, but you still have to like ace the interview and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? And then the other thing is, the first thing that I was picking up off of this was the wife. All right. And let's go back to that meaning, because I feel like that's what this applies to. The Nine of Arrows in reverse. She's not very, this is my dedication card, but it's in reverse. So this says she's not really dedicated to the idea of Bill finding you a job. She has some kind of questions. She has some wonderings like, hey, what's really going on here? Is there more to the story? So yeah, that's that story. I think he's going to have some good ideas. He's going to point you in the right direction. I think you're going to be the one really responsible for doing all the getting of the job. I think you want to be a little bit careful of her, not to ruffle her feathers or give her any kind of fuel for her other paranoid thoughts. I don't have anything on these cards that say there's anything more to the story. But I think it's important to be aware that she might be a little bit more possessive than she appears on the outside, so that you can avoid catching your foot in a frickin' bear trap when you're interacting with either one of them. Amber, you are up next. And you just want a general. So we're going to do for Amber, we're going to do a message from Spirit. Is there anybody else in the room that does not, that I haven't read for yet, that would like a reading? Madeline Eve Ashes. Yes, you may. Madeline, you're going to be after Amber. And guys, if you're into readings like this, then please follow me, please subscribe, and also hit the notification bell. And once you've done that, then you have to turn on YouTube notifications on your device too. That way you can catch me the next time I go live also. And you'll know when I upload other stuff. It does sound kind of dangerous. Yeah, that's why you don't know how she is. Because you don't talk to them hardly. Heads up. Heads up. Don't start stepping into that minefield. All right. Amber, message from Spirit. For those of you who are newer here and you don't know what a message from Spirit is, this is basically, I'm just checking in to see what Sacred Spirit wants to talk to you about. I don't set the topic. I also don't set the time frame. So this could be past, present, or future. If it's past or present, then you'll recognize it. If it's coming up in the future, you may not recognize it at all. I used to tell people future, give it a couple of weeks to happen, but most people tell me that future stuff happens within a couple of days or sooner. And the first two cards are going to tell me the situation Sacred Spirit wants to talk to me about for you, wants to talk to you about through me, I should say. And then the next three cards are going to be your best heads up or advice, insight or advice around that situation. Okay, so Amber, message from Spirit. Everybody else be on the lookout for a piggyback message. Oh, Lordy. Amber, you're thinking about somebody in your life that is, Lord. Okay. I'm getting a headache just looking at these cards. Put on your safety belt and your hard hat, folks. We're coming in for a rough one on this reading. First of all, we've got the stag showing up in reverse. We're talking about somebody who, let's do this. It's covered by my dedication card. You've got somebody in your life, Ms. Amber, who is not very good at staying dedicated or staying loyal. Okay? They're just not good at it. They're not strong with it. They may have some kind of addiction that distracts them from staying dedicated or loyal, keeping them on task, on track, on point, pointed towards the goal. Okay? They could be disloyal, like if this is a partner, they could be disloyal sexually. If this is a business partner, they could just be like doing all kinds of silliness without consulting you first, maybe even doing some backstabbing types of behaviors. This person is just headache. Oh my gosh, what a headache. Here's the thing, though. The other thing that this card is telling me is that you're very dedicated to this person. Like you're committed to this person. You do everything you can to make life better for this person. That's why I'm getting the headache. Like this person isn't. Thank goodness. Okay, thank goodness. Maybe now my headache can fade. All right. So the best advice or heads up, look at this. We've got the ancestor in reverse. This is divorce. Getting away from. This is making a decision to get away from this person. There's no turning back here once you make this decision on this card. This is a done deal. Okay. Now, that's interesting that this was a long time ago. Maybe Spirit wants you to look at how far you've come, baby. Seven of Vessels coming up in reverse. This talks about the idea that this was difficult. This was hard. This was sad. But you healed up from it. You're no longer grieving or mourning this situation. And with the Moon card in reverse, you've already tapped into a lot of potential that you couldn't even reach whenever this person was in your space, shall we say. So you've tapped into a lot of potential. You've actually brought it forward, made it to where the rubber meets the road. So if that's already happened a long time ago, then this is Spirit saying, hey, look how far you've come. Like without having somebody like that in your life, look how far you've come. It's kind of like Spirit saying, look back at this and see the lessons that you can learn. I really get the strong feeling that you could be facing a similar situation soon. And Spirit is saying, hey, remember the lessons you learned last time. Let's not redo this cycle completely. Let's hit the eject button sooner. Sooner rather than later. You feel like he wants to talk to you. I don't know if it's the same person because it feels to me like this may be another cycle coming around. Same situation, different person. But I could be wrong. I mean, he could be trying to talk to you. Either way, I do feel like you're going to have like the same situation in front of you. You get to figure out what you want to do with it. All right, so that was Amber's message. Next, we're looking at Madeline. Madeline, are you still in the room? Everybody else be on the lookout for a piggyback message. If you have not subscribed, please do so. Those of you who are in the room who are Capricorns, if you are signed up to my newsletter, then you get a discount on a reading. In fact, you get a big discount, a 40% discount on a reading, either online or on the phone. So if you are not signed up to my newsletter, you do want to hit my website, which is in the description box, and sign up for my newsletter, and then reach out to me for your reading. All my contact information is on my website. Those of you who want to book a private reading with me, whether you get a discount or not, all that information is on my website. So contact information, how the readings work, all that good stuff is there. Feel free to reach out to me to schedule. And of course, also sign up for the newsletter. I do predictions for every sign every single week. Plus, I do this crazy little thing called Ramblings of a Mystic. It's whatever is on my mind. Very random. Very random. Boundaries are very important. Okay, Madeline is here. Excellent. I'm glad I am. Do most people not? Madeline, I don't feel like Madeline is a really common name, but I had a friend named Madeline back in the 90s when I lived in Berlin. Well, I guess you'll find out soon enough. La da 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 da. You're quite welcome. All right, Madeline. Message from Spirit. Everybody else be on the lookout for a piggyback message. Boopity doo doo doo, boopity doo. What's going on here? Now, this is some silliness happening on my board right now. Madeline. Okay, you're starting off with the horse coming up in reverse. Horse in reverse says that instead of strengthening your position in the 3D world, you are actually weakening your position in the 3D world. That is covered by my Two of Bows in reverse, which tells me that this idea that you're weakening your position in the world, you have a choice. You don't have to do that, but it may not feel like you have a choice. And it doesn't feel like you have a choice because there's somebody around you in your sphere of influence that's expecting you to do something. They're expecting you to do whatever this is that's weakening your position in the world. And since they're expecting you to do it, you feel like you have to, even though you have a choice. All right, let's take a peek at best advice or heads up around this. First of all, we start with the Four of Arrows. This tells me that you've got some forced downtime coming up. So some downtime that you weren't really banking on, but you're not able to do everything that you thought you would be able to do. And this gives you time to think about things you wouldn't normally think about. So this gives you a chance to have a different perspective on this whole situation where your position is weakening because you're people pleasing people in your sphere of influence. Okay, so you're coming out of this forced downtime with a whole different perspective that's updated and that is more applicable to the situation. In fact, you may have been sort of sleepwalking through this situation, just doing what you thought you had to do to make other people happy without even realizing, wait a second, this is actually weakening my position here. Or wait a second, I actually have a choice here. You may have not even been looking at that until you have this forced downtime. And then you're looking at, I hadn't really noticed this before because I haven't had time to think about it because I've been dealing with chaos, is what Spirit said. So now what is this? How do I really feel about this? Okay. Now, too late. She's done it. Next thing that we have coming up here is the Green Woman in reverse. So this tells me, because it's right behind this card where you're getting some perspective, even though you might not have really wanted this downtime, this says that having this perspective is actually what leads you to realize, whoa, this is exactly the opposite of what I wanted to accomplish in my life or accomplish in this phase of my life or by being here or whatever it is. You're realizing this is exactly the opposite of what I was wanting to accomplish. Ace of Arrows. Once you realize that and you're aware of that, then it's time for you to speak up. The Ace of Arrows is actually speaking. It's saying a word out there to the universe. So it's time to speak up. It's time to let somebody know, hey, this isn't working for me anymore. I'm hearing bye-bye. Well, if it's time for you to speak up, you're the one creating this opportunity, or at least opening the door for this opportunity. Maybe this is putting out lots of resumes. I don't know what kind of opportunity you're waiting for, but it's time for you to start doing some speaking this into being. Mm-hmm. Yep. And Madeline, this is a great moon to create something new. So if you want to do some kind of little ritual, or if you want to say a prayer, or whatever you do to manifest, this is a very potent time to do that. It actually peaked like 3 hours ago, which means it's still a pretty strong moon to take advantage of that energy. And you'll be very disciplined about following through with this for the next 2 weeks too. All right. Anybody else in the room that would like a reading before I get out of here? Say so now, or forever hold your peace. Guys, if you have not reacted to this video, please put a thumbs up on it. I would greatly appreciate that. And share me out to your other friends and family, people who like to get a reading, so that they can find me next time I go live as well. I enjoyed y'all's company. You guys are what makes this more interesting than making the videos. I like the live streams. I like being able to interact with y'all. By the way, if y'all ever want a private reading, I do offer those either online or on the phone, whatever works better for you. And you can find out how to get one of those if you go to my website, which is in the description box below. Gran, how did you come in at the last minute, honey bunny? Or I can just type the website right here. Either way, all my contact information is here, guys. I do also offer mentoring sessions for those of you who are looking to expand your own psychic abilities. And I do long distance Reiki sessions if you need a little help with a health issue or really anything else. Reiki helps with financial, health, emotional, relationships, all that good stuff. Graham, I love it that you're here, my friend. Do you have a question for me tonight, or do you want a message from Spirit? Boopity doo doo. How's your move going, too? First, tell me what you want me to read about, but then tell me how your move is going. Almost out of coffee. You're going to be the last person I read for today. Thank you, Miss Cheryl. I'm going to have to say goodbye all over again here in a minute. Message from Spirit for Gracie. Can't leave Gracie out. She is loyal, and she always reminds everybody to put thumbs ups on the video. I can't leave her out. Message from Spirit for Gracie. Gracie. See what I mean? I've been reading for Gracie for a long time. Gracie, when would you say is the first time that we started talking? It's been a while. Because I can remember you and me talking back when I lived in Missouri in like 2019. Message from Spirit for Gracie. Right? Okay, let's see what we have here for Gracie. Everybody else be on the lookout for a piggyback message. Last message of the night for this live stream. Knight of Vessels showing up in reverse. This talks about the idea of thinking outside the box, trying to find some kind of solution for a problem or situation. And what do we have crossing it? We have my abundance card crossing it. So abundance in reverse. This is the situation that we are looking for a creative solution to. You would like to create more abundance. Gracie, do you have a kitchen in your new place? Gracie used to make like meals and sell them to people. And then she moved into this place that didn't have a kitchen. And now she's moving again. So I'm hoping she's got a kitchen now. Oh, yeah, that's right. All right. Oh, you were just getting the rest of your stuff out of the old place. Gotcha. Okay, so let's look at this. Thinking outside the box about how to create more abundance because you're feeling limited on abundance right now. Wow. Okay. Hmm. Okay, so there are some things that you have to let go of as far as energetically. I want to hold up these two cards together because I feel like they're saying a sentence and it's only partial without both of them. Okay. So we have the morning card and we have, what is this called? The exploitation card in reverse. Okay. I think this exploitation happened in the past. The morning says that you're still sad about it. You still haven't got over it. You may even still be mad about it. I don't know. Definitely you're sad about whatever this exploitation was and whatever you feel like it sort of robbed you of. You're sad about this. Okay. You have to let go of those emotions about this. And a lot of times when we let go of those emotions, sometimes we just have to acknowledge them and we have to let them flow through, whether they're flowing through as tears or sobs or punching a pillow or whatever. That helps remove those blockages actually from our body so that in our aura we can start vibing high again. Okay. Now, letting go of whatever those emotions are around somebody that took advantage of you in the past allows you to come forward with this Ace of Vessels in reverse. Now, for me, an Ace of Vessels in reverse in this particular case talks about you being able to really fully bloom and blossom, especially when it comes to your abundance, to you being able to find ways to bring in more abundance. But first, you got to get rid of these blockages where you feel like somebody stole from you. You got to get rid of those feelings so that they're not blocking your abundance because that's what's happening. Those feelings where somebody took advantage of you before, and the negative feelings that you're feeling around that are what's blocking your abundance because you're like, well, I used to have blah, 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 but now I don't because blah, 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 blah. Well, we're sending that message out to the universe. I used to have it. I don't now. And the universe is responding to that. So we have to get rid of that. That has to go. I hope that makes sense for you, my friend. Yeah. Family too. You don't get to stay mad at them either if you want to be abundant. You don't get to stay mad at them either. They probably deserve it more than anybody else, but you don't get to stay mad at them either. I don't know how. That's something that you have to ask Sacred Spirit about. Ask Sacred Spirit to show you how. You know, some of this stuff is insidious. Forgiveness is really tricky sometimes. You know, my dad struggled with alcoholism And he'll tell you now he's still a recovering alcoholic, and he quit drinking 2 weeks before I turned 21, and that's a long time ago, guys. He's got over 30 years sober. But he'll still tell you if you ask him that he still has cravings, he still thinks about it, but he also goes to meetings every day, usually more than one. And way back when, back in the 2010s, my dad came to my house just to say that he was sorry for everything he did to me during his drinking days, most of which he probably couldn't even remember. So you can imagine what kind of apology that actually was, right? I just am giving you this blanket apology because I don't even know what all I've done to you, but I imagine it couldn't have been good. That's kind of what it was, all right? Well, before my dad apologized to me, I always had the mindset of my dad's doing the best that he knows how to do with the tools that he was given in his life, and so I never really held anything against him. It was never an issue, you know? He was whatever he was, and he was doing his best, and okay. And I wasn't mad at him. I wasn't always, like, thrilled about what was going on, but I wasn't mad at him either. I never held anything against him. Then, here comes the apology. I'm in my early to mid-20s, and after he apologized with his little blanket, "Sorry for everything" apology, he literally came to my home to deliver that apology and then left. I lived out of state. He had come into I lived in Texas, he lived in Missouri. He had come into Texas for some kind of Alcoholic Anonymous seminar, swung by my house, spent less than 20 minutes, apologized to me, and left. That shifted everything. That completely shifted the energy for me. I'm sure it shifted it for him too. And I told him, I said, "Dad, I've never held anything against you." Told him everything that I just told you guys. And after he left, I got pissed. For the first time in my life, I was ridiculously pissed off at my dad, like out the window pissed, like Scorpio kind of pissed. And I was thinking about all this stuff that he had done, and I was like, "Oh, so he can apologize for that now, can he?" Hmm. That means he recognizes that it wasn't good. Hmm. That means he probably recognized that it wasn't good whenever he did it. What an asshole. And I was mad. Oh, was I mad? But I couldn't really say anything. I'd already basically let him off the hook. And I went from being like, you were doing the best you could," to, "Oh my god." You could see the steam rolling out of my ears. And I went on like that for weeks. I was just pissed. And every day I would think about it. It would not leave my mind. And I was having dreams where I was just like, I was pissed. That's all I can say is I was pissed. And it took me I was going to church back then. I was much more of a church person than I would say I was a holy roller actually back then. And I was going to this Pentecostal church that was in revival, and they preached a sermon on forgiveness and how you don't forgive for the other person, you forgive for yourself because you don't wanna carry around that burden, which is very true. And so I decided I was gonna forgive my dad because I was kinda sick of thinking about it. And so when I decided that, yep, I get it, Gran. When I decided that I was gonna forgive him, it felt really good for a few minutes. And then I was like, wait a minute." So, yeah, I forgave him for this time, but I don't know if I can forgive him for this thing or that thing or the other thing. And in the sermon, they had talked about sometimes you have to decide to forgive someone several times before it really takes. And so I spent 2 weeks deciding several times a day to forgive my dad before it really took. Exactly, exactly, on the drink and the poison. And so forgiveness is tricky, and sometimes it's hard work. Sometimes it's not a one and done thing, especially if you're in a situation where people are continuing to do things that if you're gonna clear the blockages, you have to keep forgiving. So it's important to recognize that when you're looking at the but how, sometimes but how can take a little bit. You just have to decide, and you have to keep deciding, and keep deciding, and keep deciding. It can be hard with the history of the person too. Yeah. I just recently went home to see my family and some stuff went down, man. I am the black sheep or the scapegoat, whatever word you wanna use. And some stuff went down and I was like, I thought I did enough self-work that this stuff was not gonna bother me, and I was wrong, as usual. And then I came home and I had to forgive it. I had to let it go. Yep. So I guess I'm done preaching for tonight. Everybody have a fantastic evening. If I don't see you before New Year's, have a fantastic new year. Peace out. Exactly, Gracie.